You have to go back to 1951 to start the Landcruiser journey. So probably most of us watching this video remember life with only Landcruisers in it. And I'm here today to find out, in Morocco by the way, is it still the pinnacle of off-road solutions? Welcome to Nobby on Cars, welcome to Morocco. Starting to slip. Our Landcruiser journey would take us deep into the Atlas Mountains, navigating terrain that most cars simply would not be able to negotiate. Snakes, wild monkeys and plenty of dirt, and a rare glimpse at how some of the Moroccan people live a far simpler life to the one we know, yet this is a vast country, barely an hour's flight time from Spain. There is a reason why the UN, armies, and just about anybody who needs to go off-road is in a Landcruiser and not much else. And as cars evolve and models change, some you could argue aren't what they used to be. But my God, this Landcruiser is so up to the job. It's so up for it. Weirdly enough, for a car that entered this planet such a long time ago, there hasn't actually been that many models of it, because Toyota will go through really long periods with one model, 13 to 15 years, with perhaps a minor facelift. But now the all-new Landcruiser has arrived, and I'm here just outside Fez in Morocco, where we are putting the Landcruiser through serious paces over the next couple of days. So I'm going to be able to show you all the different things this fully off-road vehicle is capable of, and interesting enough is on standard tyres. The previous one that is just finishing up has been around for about 13 years. This is quite a bit more modern, and it has jumped in price. Let's get that elephant in the room out of the way first of all. So the commercial version, including VAT, is a little shy of 70 grand, two-seater, built as a commercial from the factory in Toyota. There is a passenger version that's going to cost over €140,000 in Ireland, and Toyota Ireland can get you one, but they expect to sell way more commercial units. In fact, fun fact, for little old Ireland, we are the biggest market of commercial Landcruisers in Europe. Yeah, go us. Because of agricultural solutions, obviously. And I was just thinking about this today. Yes, the price has gone up, and I'll show you where some of the cost increases has gone to, but let's call it 15 grand, including VAT. Keep the Landcruiser for 10 years. It's not even 7 grand a year, and if you're using this as a workhorse, it is a bargain, genuinely, because it will make your life easier on a daily basis. Minimum ground clearance is under 300 mils, but it depends on your size of tyre that you have on the vehicle. So obviously the bigger they are, the more ground clearance you will get, depending on tyre depth. Wading, 700 millimeters for a wading depth, and proportion still kind of the same size that we have seen in the more recent generations of Landcruiser. It has 205 brake horsepower, but it's all about the torque in this vehicle. It can tow 3.5 ton. It's got independent diffs, front and rear. They can independently be accessed. You have some new electrical equipment on board to help with the job. Hill descent, crawl with different speed options. So really, whatever you want to throw at this vehicle, the Landcruiser can just do it. And we'll get into what we've done off-road today in a few minutes, but just dealing with the superficial stuff. So this is sand colour. Obviously there's a wiper here. There's buttons here for opening the top part of the split, if you so wish. Obviously then you can open it and this way with an electric tailgate, and you can also get this version of the passenger Landcruiser in a 7-seater if you wish, with loads of boot space and flexible covers, and lots of practicality. And there's no doubt there's people who will use a passenger one as a family vehicle, but also maybe to tow horses in Ireland, because we're so like that. Shout out to all the people in Kildare who are the horsey kind. So sand is the colour, pretty pleasing on the eye. On the front of the vehicle, the limited launch models got the round headlights. It was actually a female employee in Toyota who said, why don't we get some round headlights to kind of cover the retroness of the vehicle? But most models will get the traditional square unit with LED. The other thing that obviously has helped the price creep up is some of the ADAS stuff that is on this Landcruiser that was never on the previous version. Stuff like frontal collision avoidance, blind spot, rear cross traffic monitoring, lane keep assist. All these things that you'll find in a modern car today that also had to go into the Landcruiser as part of GSR2. So things like puddle lights to help you not step into a cow pat is something else that is on this car that hasn't been there before. But certainly it is a jump in price. There's no getting away from it. Needless to say, some of the other off-road attributes, these side steps which help you get in and out of the vehicle, and the all-important grab handles which are everywhere. One other aspect that feels a little bit unfair is commercial versions of the Landcruiser will not come with a tow hitch. It's an optional extra. Now, in the past, you've been able to retrofit your own tow bar to the vehicle, so hang on to that tow bar if you are trading in your old Landcruiser, or you'll have to cough up about €1,500 extra to get one factory fitted.
The next part of our Moroccan trip led us to a test track which was essentially the edge of a cliff, complete with jagged rocks and edges, loose gravel and a set of seriously steep inclines and slopes that really tested the Landcruiser's grip.
Let's get straight into it today then. I'm heading up a pretty massive incline. I don't know if it'll do it justice on video as to how steep some of this stuff is. Doesn't look particularly slippy, but yeah, some of the drops are substantial. Okay, so over to the right. Left.
Left, sorry.
This is a pretty big incline, but the cameras definitely help. So all I have to do is steer. Don't brake, don't accelerate, just steer. The car is in medium crawl mode. There isn't so much as a bit of tire slip. Nothing. It's just so easy. Landcruiser just makes life so easy. It's just a doddle. It's a doddle. So actually, when you look at this, like when you look at the vastness of this, like just check this out. When you see the drops that are made so easy by this car, like it's so steep. To look at it, it's like, I'm not going down that. And then you see what they're capable of. It's just simples.
Hello, sir.
Hello.
Let's put it on neutral mode just for 1 second. Let's be sure that the SDM is out. This button here, which is the stubby bar, it should be off, out.
Off.
Off. Then put it on drive mode again, D. Press the crawl button. And with the selector wheel, put it on 3. 1, 2, 3 segments. So 3 kilometers an hour, stubby bar out, we gain 20% of the spring sensitivity, okay? And to start, you just need to press a little bit the gas throttle and then keep your feet completely off. Don't try to help the engine.
Okay.
No gas, no brake. Just, like a very little changes if I tell you left or right, little with the steering wheel.
Okay.
And the engine is gonna do the work. Thank you, anytime, come in.
Okay, so here we go. You heard the man. No gas, no nothing. Keep the wheels straight. It's amazing how the wheels are bending. The diff locks are just working totally independent of each other. And it's just so impressive, especially to see it on the outside. It's like, how is it doing that? And there we go. Even I can do it.
Very nice.
Thank you.
Thank you very
Is this
much,
the last
sir.
part, or?
This is the last part,
Okay,
yes.
yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Enjoy.
Now, if you've owned a previous generation Landcruiser, you just can't compare the interior. So, for example, there's a button down here up to about 20 kilometers an hour that will give you an overview of the vehicle, including side angles. So if you're on really loose, jagged rock terrain, you get a good idea of how close you are with your tyres. Now, these vehicles are on the standard tyres, which has really impressed us today because we have really thrown some serious terrain at these vehicles. So looking around you, again, it feels very car-like. All the climate buttons, physical buttons that Toyota have left in. You have 3 USB-C charging ports here, as well as a HDMI port, which is very, very useful to have. And then looking around your buttons, so you have high and low, so you push down and select it in. The stabby bar, the differentials for front and rear are here. So it's all just quite easy to do. There's no mechanical work really involved. You can do some manually if you want, or you can just let it do it in the background. It can tell what type of terrain you're on. And then you have the crawl mode, which we've used. I mean, look at this today that I took this vehicle down, and when you're looking down the nose, it's incredibly steep, but it crawls down at 3 kilometers per hour if you wish. The first time Landcruiser has had things like heated and air-cooled seats, very, very comfortable seats. Leather is what you get from the factory now. There's no cloth seats left in terms of what goes into the car. So there are other ways that the price has increased. Wireless charging plates, digital rear camera to help with visibility as well. So again, lots of things that you won't have seen in a Landcruiser before. So good leg room in the back of the vehicle, nice support on the back of your thighs also, things like armrest, great seating angle. These are things that you just wouldn't get in a pickup if you're going for the passenger version of this car. You'll get air-cooled seats and heated seats and climate control, your own individual access to all these things in the back, and some USB-C charging and good space of windows, air vents to keep people cool, grab handles as well. Now again, these won't be relevant to the Irish market in a commercial vehicle, but if you're going for a passenger, it is a very, very comfortable place to be sitting. It's only when it's off-road that this absolute beast comes into its own. I remember getting an early look at the Landcruiser this summer, and people were saying 205 brake horsepower, 2.8. That doesn't make any sense. This car is all about torque, whether it's low ratio climbing, whether it's towing 3.5 tons. The torque is like the main driver of this car, no pun intended. The brake horsepower is more like the pub chat side of things, where if you don't know, then you might be going, brake horsepower is very, very low. And look, there are times when you do wish this car had a little bit more torque. The gear changes on the 8-speed automatic box, which again, the commercial would also be 8-speed now on the Landcruiser from the get-go. You would like it to sometimes be a bit more aware of what it wants to do in terms of changing gear all of the time. And the engine is definitely on the more clattery side for a diesel engine. You would like it to sound a little bit more refined for the cost involved. But all that aside, it's very, very comfortable. The suspension setup is perfect on roads in a way that the majority of off-road vehicles just can't be. And really, when you see what this thing can do on standard tyres and how comfortable it is on the road, it's quite impressive, it has to be said. The steering is quite light, but definitely, again, an improvement on the previous Landcruiser. So if you're going to be using this thing in a combination of on the road and off-road, at least you'll also enjoy your journey to and from wherever you need to do the heavier stuff with, because yeah, it's very, very good. And then you have all these nice additional things that you wouldn't have had in cars before, including a monitor that likes to beep at you if you even briefly look away from straight ahead. There's a sensor here in front of you, so that might be a bit of a change. There's no off-road mode button as such, which will turn all of these particular things off. But that said, there's a lot of stuff that will come on automatically in low ratio gears. The crawl mode, the parking sensors, for example, are turned off when you're in some of those modes. So again, it's not beeping at you if you're brushing past gorse and just tight country lanes and all the rest of it. So at least there's that built in. Full size spare wheel and loads of physical buttons for those of you that are using it in an agricultural way also. When you see the vastness and the terrain, like this is the type of stuff we're driving through and navigating through. Yeah, there's a couple of ruts obviously on the road, but it's just so impressive. And what else is so impressive in terms of scenery is Morocco. It's absolutely stunning. When you see some of the views, the vastness of it, some of it's lush, some of it is so dry and desert-like. Also some of the places where people call home, and they just lead such a simple life compared to what we're used to. So our next job is to get this thing up this hill, and I've no doubt it will do it in its sleep. What a place, what a vehicle. It goes without saying that where the Landcruiser really does come into its own is when it's off-road. The stuff today that there'd be very few cars you'd get along the route that we used. Narrow lanes, severe rocks all over the place. And a lot of the time we didn't even need to use the lower gears to navigate some of the climbs. Some of the off-road stuff I was going down today, like the grip is immense. It's so simple to use. You're kind of like, it's explained to you once and then you just get it. And it's so, like, the mode select thing is very, very easy to use. It's just essentially a jog wheel, which will make your life easier. And that's the other thing. Like, while some of the off-road features on the previous generation Landcruiser were tech-wise were a little bit out of date, this has just brought it right up to date. And yeah, it's very, very easy to use. So, look, it's as good as you expect it to be. I think it's a 90% rate for people who have Landcruisers. They'll trade it in for another Landcruiser, and then there's another percentage of above that 90 who won't actually sell the Landcruiser. They'll keep it on the business or pass it on to a family member, whatever the case may be. You don't need me to tell you how durable, how capable a Landcruiser is, but perhaps you might have needed me to get access to this brand new model before it's fully on the ground in Ireland. No doubt the passenger version is crazy money. Now, it was always expensive, but now it truly is a very, very expensive vehicle. And while the commercial is not cheap either, as a workhorse, it still offers serious value. And if you truly need your work car to do the things that the Landcruiser can do, then you're just going to buy it. It really is. It's as simple as that. Epic scenery in Morocco. What a place, and the perfect setting to test out this latest version of this iconic off-road tool, vehicle, set of wheels, 4x4, whatever you want to call it. It's as good as ever. Is the new Landcruiser still worth your money then? Absolutely. Yes, it could be a little bit better, the gear changes, the diesel engine is a little bit clattery at times, but the steering is so much better, the suspension is so much better, and really it is the ultimate off-road vehicle. It will do absolutely everything that you can throw at it. If you don't get the point of 205 brake horsepower, you're probably looking at the wrong vehicle, because this thing is incredible when it comes to the hard work that you will throw at it. And if you need it as an extension, as your tools, your weaponry, whatever you do for a living, just go and buy it. Thank you very much for watching. I'll see you in the next one.